Howdy everyone. Welcome to south of Russia. My name is Konstantin and I'm doing a live stream to update you on what is happening in Russia right now. What are the current events unfolding and what is up in my land. Welcome to another unfolding daily update. Thank you so much. Thank you. And let's do it. My message today is about the Russians. It's about the hard times. It's about what has been happening and how, in my opinion, things will unfold. I am telling you the tale of the Russian people from my experience and, very subjective opinion. Most of my streams about my subjective opinions. I see that most mods are here today. Lorna, Mommy, Bob S, Robert Bates, Yarn Prepper, Harry Potnan. Thank you so much for giving me 5x5. So most my messages are subjective opinions. I try to give you the story I see live here in Russia through my own eyes. And I hope you find my today's story interesting. My friends, where do I start? With a T. In Russia, in the past 3 months, for the past 3 months, we have been seeing the living standard of our lives going down. Some people are seeing the standard going way down, and some just a little bit, kind of scratching the surface. But everyone has been affected. Even the people who haven't lost their jobs, who are doing well financially, there are people like that in Russia right now, all kinds of people. The ones who are doing really bad and the ones who are doing not bad. So even the ones who aren't doing bad, they have started noticing the effects, so to speak. There are three things that I personally think that can be seen in Russia and affect all Russians' lives. They are, thing number one, of course, increasing food prices. We all eat at least 3 times a day, and to get our food, most of us, we go to the stores and we buy it. And we have seen quite an increase. I have shown food prices in my videos already, and I'm going to do more of that. I was hoping to plan a premiere today, but I move it to tomorrow. I just haven't finished completely the video, so there will be a premiere after tomorrow's video. So the food prices have been affecting everyone. We are simply paying, plain and simple. Second, consumer goods. And I'm talking mostly about the goods that have been imported into Russia. They are electronics, apparel, those stores that closed and the companies that moved out of Russia. We've seen an increase of their goods available here because they're still available, they're still in stock, but they cost much more. And the third is jobs. Lots of jobs have been lost by Russians, and there is simply much less work these days. even if people haven't lost jobs, even if they're still in business, they're seeing decrease in sales. They're seeing less and less work, and they have to compete more and more. Therefore, they have to lower their prices. Okay, so these are three things that we're seeing that's been affecting us in the past, I would say, 2.5 months. I have seen personally, I have seen the signs. First of all, I shop for food every other day. I'm seeing the prices going up. Second, I have seen decreased traffic on interstate highways, and as well as in the cities, like in Rostov-on-Don. Right now, on a weekday, around 8:30 a.m., in the place where I live, there was always traffic jam to get into the center of the city. Not so anymore, okay? That's what I'm seeing with my own eyes. And another sign of times, hard times, is the stores closing left and right. Small shops in large business centers. I made an entire video about that. And large stores pull out of shopping malls. And, you can see that there are fewer businesses in business these days. And there's much more commercial real estate for rent compared to merely 4 months ago. These are first early birds, so to speak, first signs of coming economic hardships. And I've been talking about the hardships. I've been calling this hardship, one huge disaster. I've been calling this an economic tsunami that's coming towards us. And, the first signs are here, but there are more to come. Now, I am one of people in the minority who think that Russia is getting into the period of hard times. There is another part of Russians, of our society, people who think that things are doing not too bad, and their beliefs are based on, first of all, the strong ruble. Ruble is much stronger than it was before the start of the event on the 24th of February. $1 was traded for about 68, 70 rubles, something like that. 72 rubles perhaps. Now $1 is traded for 60 rubles. So the ruble has strengthened, or at least on paper, because it's not freely traded anymore. Okay, but on paper, the currency exchange rate is more favorable towards ruble. We call in this, ruble has become stronger. Okay, so people are saying, you see what's going on? Do you see what's going on? The ruble is back with a bang. Okay, fine. We'll see how it performs closer to the new year. Then people come and say, hey, you've been saying there'd be an economic disaster, and it hasn't happened. You see, life is going on. It's normal. It's as usual. At least the ones are saying who haven't lost their jobs. And that's partially true. Life is still going on. I wouldn't say it's as usual, but, we still live. We still shop. We still, do things. It's, in my opinion, hasn't been long enough to get into the global disaster. Okay, it's on the way, but it's somewhere in the future, near future, coming up. And I'm not arguing with the people who come to me and talk about economics, my friends, relatives, who have different point of view. I don't argue with them. My saying to everyone about anything these days in Russia is one: time will tell. You can't argue with that. Time will really tell. But now I'm going to tell you my personal opinion how Russians are going to survive through this hard time or hard times that are on the way. You see, the West, there are two theories, okay? The first theory is that the West is trying to get Russian government down by placing all these sanctions upon, the government, Russia's government's debt, Russian budget, Russian banks, Russian rich individuals, and so forth. So the West wants to bring down the government and, around government structures, formations. Another theory says that that the West is trying to place sanctions upon regular Russian people to make their lives miserable. That's how the West wants to motivate Russians to actually do something about this situation. Now, I'm not sure which one is true, but I am pretty sure that the second one, if it's true, that's not going to be as effective. And this is why. Because you don't understand who we, the Russian people, are. For the past 100 years, we have been conditioned to become world champions of enduring hard times. You simply cannot break down Russians by throwing them into a really harsh situation. Sometimes I think that the Russians actually thrive from the harsh situations. Okay, I'm not sure whether it's true or not, but that sometimes I get this feeling. You see, before World War II, Russia had tremendously hard time. There was a huge hunger. It took lives of many Ukrainians, many Russians, many Kazakh people, millions and millions, tens of died in the USSR. Russian people starved to death in many cases, but they were just grinding their teeth and keeping quiet. World War II came, and the Russian society united, and oh boy, it stood behind the government. People stood behind the government for 5 years, well, for 4 years really. All arguments between people and government were gone. Okay, there was a unity. There was a joint feeling of one between the state, the government, and the Russian people. And actually, it was a pretty good thing because the Nazis were defeated. And after World War II, western part of Russia was destroyed, completely destroyed. Because it's easy. There was war, bloodshed, huge bloodshed. So Russians had no place to live. Most apartments, most houses were destroyed. They had no place. They had very little food. I remember I was told by older people that you had to get special cards. There was a card system, and one card could be exchanged for like 10 ounces of bread daily, and that's all you had to buy for a few years after World War II. And finally, closer to 1950, they canceled this card system, and then you could buy as much of food in the stores as possible. But Russians didn't say anything about that. They were just grinding their teeth and going forward. They were building housing for themselves out of anything they could find. Not bricks, but, wooden sticks, hay roofs, things like that. I actually took you to the slums a couple of weeks ago, and I did a walking tour, and most of those buildings were built exactly in the same period. In the late 40s, early 50s, out of anything that the regular people could find their hands on, okay? That's how they were trying to survive. Yet, they were quiet about that. They were just happy there was no war. And that's what my mom kept telling me, that she was born in 1949, and then, she was growing up, a little kid. She told me many times, she said all around her was joy because there was no war, and people were saying no matter what, we could starve, we could We could live under the clear skies, but there's just no war, and this is happiness. Okay, so the following years of the USSR were not a cake, okay, not a piece of cake. Some periods were a little better, but some were worse. In the 60s, again, my dad was telling me they had food shortages. They sometimes went hungry. Crazy. 70s were okay. 80s were really, really tough. I remember food shortages. I remember bread lines. Gosh, I was in charge of getting food in my family as a teenager back in the late 80s because my parents worked from day till night, from morning till night. So I remember myself how difficult it was to get butter. We again had cards. We used to call them talons, but they were like really cards, a piece of paper with a stamp, and then you could exchange, I think it was like a pound of butter per month for one person. So three of us, we got 3 pounds of butter, okay, for the entire month from a store. You just could exchange. Well, of course, you had to pay money, but they wouldn't take your money without that little ticket. So it was harsh. There were bread lines. I remember standing in bread lines. There was shortage of pretty much everything. There was shortage of meat. There was shortage of quite a few foods. We only had basic staples completely available at any times to us, such as pasta, milk, sour cream, pretty much bread. You had to stand in line, but you could get it. But let me tell you, everything else you had to fight for. You have to really struggle to get it. You had to go to certain shops where they would sell it. That, it's a different story, but another long story. But the thing is, it was really hard in the late 80s. 90s were okay. 90s were okay in terms of food, but you know what? 90s were really bad in terms of respect for the country, because respect for Russia fell down pretty much to unseen levels, okay? How do I know? Easy. A lot of Russians were trying to flee, well, to leave Russia, not to flee, but to emigrate to other countries. And there was a problem because other countries would not issue visas to Russians. It was a really big deal to get a visa, including a visa to the United States, because the denials of visa were so numerous, okay? And it was a hardship, psychological hardship. We felt that we were crushed as a country. We were crushed as people, as folks, 2000s were okay, the rich years, probably the best years in Russian history from 2000 to 2012. I explained in details in my video of brief history of Russia through my eyes. And let me tell you, good times, good times. No problem with anything. The only problem was really how to spend our money, like what to get, what else to get, Then we had encountered another period of troubles in Russia, and they were 2012 to 2022, 10 years. 2014, Russia started getting under sanctions from the West. It wasn't bad, but still we felt it. Russia started getting an island, so to speak. It wasn't bad, it wasn't anything unlike right now, but we felt it. And it was economically, we started losing our incomes. Our living standard started going down. I would say 2013, 2014, early 2014. Then was still not bad, okay? Was still livable, was still passable, was still enjoyable somewhat, but you know what happened on February 24th of this year, 2022? That event has divided Russia into two parts, the old Russia and the new country. And the sanctions that followed, they surprised everyone, including the highest Russian officials. Elvira Nabiulina, no less than Elvira Nabiulina, came out and said, hey, we thought that there would be sanctions, but we never thought that would be this kind of sanctions. That's the head of Russian Central Bank, and that was in late February. Since then, we've seen unseeable. We hadn't seen anything like that before. Most Western companies who entered Russia in the 90s, who had been building businesses very hard, who had been expanding, getting market shares, increasing their market shares, making the sales, hiring thousands, tens of thousands of Russians here in Russia. Almost overnight, most of them left or announced. My friends, this was and has been, it's hard. It's hard. Immediately, hardships started developing. Like I said many times, we've seen our living standard dropping. Okay, and a lot of people have lost their jobs because companies simply closed. Government is trying to help out with unemployment because it knows unemployment is dangerous for the government. Hungry people are dangerous people. So it's been trying to go extra mile and somehow accommodate financial situation, but you can only do so much. You can only do so much. You cannot just go and start paying person salary. The role of the government is just to create this environment where businesses will just grow and thrive. So Russian businesses closing. Russian Western companies have left. Regular Russians have started cutting on spendings. They've started spending less for unnecessary things, luxury items, services, and a lot of Russians have started spending only for the very necessarily basic things, okay? Forget about manicure, forget about summer vacation, forget about massage, things like that. Forget about spa and cosmetics, things like that. Those are luxuries. They can wait, we can live without them. And what I'm trying to say is we have started our life going down financially, lower and living standard dropping. But the thing is, there's a long way to go. And just to give you an example, what Russians are all about, in May, like in early March, after the start of the event, German manufacturer BMW had a manufacturing plant here in Russia, in Kaliningrad, the former German city of Königsberg. It stopped manufacturing BMWs. I think BMW 5 Series was manufactured there. So it stopped in early March, and it gave workers 2 months vacation, paid vacation. And within 2 months, this event in Ukraine would stop and things would somewhat go back to normal, back to usual. But this company, Autoror, it saw that things were not getting better, and it decided to support Russians, its employees, in a very Russian way, so to speak. It gave every single Russian worker at the factory, it offered 600 square meters of land, so the workers could plant potatoes and grow potatoes and harvest and live, make it throughout the following winter. It's not a joke. It's not a joke. It was actually a PR event carried out by this plant. It happened. 600 square meters is about 15% of an acre. That's how much. I think there are a couple hundred people who got their land. And you know what? Things like that have started happening all over Russians. all over Russia. Russian people have started thinking about how to survive. They've switched back into survival mode. They understand that things are not well and they're not going to get any better anytime soon. And the government is using this situation, right? It's pushing this agenda that it's not our fault. Your dropping living standards is the fault of the enemy states, the United States, who has placed so many sanctions upon Russia. That sanctions aren't fooling you directly, Russian people. Okay, that's pretty much the message that I get from every corner for the past, couple months. So it's not us, it's them, it's the enemies that driving your financial life down so much. But you cannot get Russians by doing that. You cannot get them by put them on their knees by putting country economy, certain industrial sectors under sanctions. You cannot do that. Russians survived World War II, which was much, much worse. They survived the Soviet Union times. Okay, they've been conditioned. They feel, I think, okay, it's my opinion, but I think the Russians feel the best during the survival times because they mobilize internally, okay, and then they become. You will not be able to crush down Russian people by making their lives miserable. They remember lives being miserable back in the USSR. It's bad. A lot of people don't like it, but it's not gonna kill us. The ones who deal with that, the ones who are ready to prevail, to get into the hardship, they're staying in Russia. The ones who disagree, who reject this idea, they leave. They have left. They're leaving by hordes, and they probably will leave for the next, they will have left for the next few months. I've saw it with my own eyes. There's so many people who are leaving for Uzbekistan permanently, or to Uzbekistan, or just as a transition point to other countries. So the ones who don't like living in bad conditions, who don't like to prevail, who don't like to be put into the survival mode, they leave Russia. It's still possible, okay? But the ones who are left, they're tough cookies, let me tell you. They've been through a lot, okay? I'm not saying it's good, I'm not saying it's bad, but that's the fact. And if just the hardships, they will survive, they will prevail, okay? And this is exactly my observation. This is what I'm seeing. It's been my message. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you find it interesting. I'm going to turn on the live stream chat and let me know what you think about my message. Let me know if you understood what I said, or you find it strange. Let me know. Please keep this chat clean. The mods are here to safeguard the chat, and please listen to the mods. Thank you so much. Chat's on. Dirk is the number one today. Hello, Dirk. Oops. I'm trying to make it a little more visible. Reese Gray, thank you. You welcome me with super chat. Hello from Canada, Mr. Popular. No doubt Russian citizens can survive sanctions, but do they really want USSR again? I pray that Russians see how this will set them back. I don't just mean economically. Reese, believe it or not, I think that a lot of Russians want the USSR back. Believe it or not, but this is a very twisted opinion of mine, but I can explain. I can give you a reason, okay? And I think that reason is viable, okay? I think it can be understood. I'm making a video about that. You know, making videos about deep topics like this is not easy, and it's definitely not fast. You know, it's not like walking tour around shopping mall when you do everything in 1 or 2 days, you know, including editing. It's deep messages, deep videos is doing a lot of research, you know, kind of diving deep down, and it takes time. It takes a couple weeks for a message like that. For example, one of the good examples is the brief history. You know, it's a 40-minute video, but people watch it. They watch at least 25 minutes, which is kind of unheard of for YouTube. And I was making that video for almost 3 weeks, believe it or not. Yeah, I was in Uzbekistan at the time. But hang on, I'll be right back. Something's going on in my kitchen. I apologize. Well, this is false alarm. I'm coming back. So Reese, thank you for your message. Thank you so much. Thank you. Russians, a lot of Russians are actually willing to go back to this. So we keep on tuning in. I will eventually release this message, this video with a message about the USSR. To really understand what's going on now, you have to look back into the history, because the roots of our society, of what's happening right now, the roots are in the early 90s, after the fall of the USSR. What happened in the few short years right after the fall down of the monster? What happened back then? You have to understand what Russians went through then to understand what they're doing right now, okay? I think the answer for the actions of many people lay back then, in 91, in 92, okay? And this is what I'm researching, this is what I'm doing now. The usual suspects here. Mods, everyone except for Pinball. But Pinball is a rare guest as a mod. He's running his own channel, very busy one. Mods, if you could please put a link to Pinball's channel. My dear viewers, if you have not watched Pinball Preparedness, I highly recommend that channel. I watch it not every day anymore because I'm a little busy with my channel, but every single chance that I get, I watch Pinball Preparedness, and I recommend highly. The usual suspects, many usual suspects, all over Europe, all over the United States as usual, Spain, Czech Republic, Canada, Finland. Dirk is asking if he's won something. Dirk, you have won my gratitude. Thank you so much. I'm reading messages in caps because it's really hard for me to read the other ones. Julia, good message about buckling down to do the best under difficult circumstances. Better believe it, Julia. Russians are tough cookies. They shine when let's put it this way, the harder it gets, the stronger they become. I have not seen people like that, except for the Russians, you know. Sandra is saying, hello, Papa Bear from Springfield, Oregon. Papa Bear, I like that. Thank you, Sandra. Thank you. Sending love from south of Russia. Todd has a good message, although it's not in caps. I don't think the younger generation will tolerate these elements. They will leave instead of tolerating these changes. Todd, and you're absolutely right, and it's exactly what I said. Look, a lot of younger people have left already, and they will be leaving. They will keep on leaving a lot. Okay, but you can't even imagine how many young Russians have left. The ones who are optimistic, energetic, who are not afraid of changes, you know, who are looking forward to moving to different countries and adventure. Because a lot of older Russians, they're afraid of that. They're saying, oh, we're not needed by anyone. Well, my question is, who are you needed by here in Russia? IKDA, hi from Germany, crisp message and agreed also on USSR, need to be played different. Thus, I'm not the only one planting potatoes now. No, the former BMW workers in Kaliningrad have also planted potatoes. That was a big news in Russian media, by the way, about Avtoror as giving them pieces of land. That's strange. Lorna, mine shows... Oh boy. Lorna, you're absolutely right. Dirk was not the first. He was number 5. Reese Gray was number 1. Bruce second. Mammy third. You fourth. And Dirk number 5. I must have messed up someone. Golden Griffon is here. The very usual suspect. The mega usual suspect. Showman from London. Hi there. Amir, well, your comment is a good message. Hard times come and go, but hard people persist. Hard people persist, but you know what? I would say smart people persist. Because to be a strong person is one thing, but to be a smart person is another thing. I'd rather be smart. Sylvia, what about the younger generation who haven't known those hardships in their lives? Great question. I don't know. I don't know. The younger generation will leave. They will try to avoid these hardships because they don't understand. They're saying, why do we have to do this stuff? Why do we have to live here? Life is short. Life is ours. It doesn't belong to the government. It belongs to us. We can go anywhere we want to, okay? If they don't want us here, we'll go some other place. And this is exactly what's been happening, you know? Andrew Webb, this chap never seems to run out of tea. English breakfast, baby, and Earl Grey. I have supplies. Good stuff. Comes from Ceylon, Sri Lanka. Julia, thanks for clarifying. The food tickets are generally called ration cards in English-speaking areas. Ration cards, exactly what we had. The ration cards. Yes. Something I don't really recall with great pleasure, let me tell you. I hated that. I hated feeling like a bug when you just wait in line and the product, whatever you're waiting for, bread or sausage or whatever, runs out and you end up standing in line for nothing and you just go home empty-handed, disappointed. It's not a good feeling. You know, most of you have not lived through this stuff. I have. It doesn't kill you, but it makes you feel like you're this size, like an ant. Thank you, Misofs. Hope this helped for you to keep making these videos. It certainly does. Thank you so much for the message and thanks for a super chat. It does help for me to keep on making these videos. Money bring confidence. Money bring good feeling. My messages come first. I've said it many times. And even if the income stops from YouTube up to a penny, you know, I still will be making the videos. But receiving money, receiving income, extra income, because I have a daytime job. So receiving extra income, trust me, that's a very good feeling. It just, you know, it finances my stuff, new camera, telephone, you know, computer, lighting, these little things I buy for YouTube. It just gives me confidence that worst comes to worst, then I have a little financial pillow that I can use. That's great, trust me. So your message does help a lot. Terry the Terrible, do you think that this hardship will unify Russians? It has been unifying. It's one thing when things are not going well. It's another thing when someone big tells you, this is the fault of the Americans, the West, the Brits, the Canadians. So, you know, they've been doing this to you. Because look, they've placed sanctions upon us. And these sanctions do this, this, and this. Therefore, you know, you're out of jobs. Therefore, it's much more difficult for you to live and stuff like that. And that unifies them, of course. Bill Johnson says, it is said that Russia will lose their younger talent high from Florida. This is actually a hugely important message that not in caps, okay, but trust me, I understand this message so much, and this message is hugely important for my country because now countries do not compete by capitals, okay? They compete by talent, by people. The countries who have more talented, more smarter people, they win. They have stronger economies. They have better living conditions. They attract more talent from other places. There was a huge battle between the United States and China because the USA had always been #1 attractor of immigrants from all over the world. But then since I think 2012, China became #1 and these countries were competing. But the thing is, not too many Russians were leaving because Russia was a comfortable place. Making enough money to stay, to live normally, comfortably, having a nice life here, but not any longer. So Russia is losing its most valuable capital, people. Okay, and that's just, I don't understand how Russians, my fellows, do not see that, how it's not alarming them. Karen and Buzz in Texas, $5. Wish we could set hugs through YouTube. You would feel love. We're all in this together. Well, Karen and Buzz, I am feeling love. Thank you so much. Thank you. Much appreciated. Thank you. Deuce LRA, thank you so much. May the money help you and your family and may things return to normal soon. Thank you for the money. Thanks for the message. Thanks for the energy that you sent me. I doubt that things will return soon. I doubt. I think it's gonna take long time. And the worst thing is, we're Russians. We've done it ourselves, to ourselves. It's wonderful. Huh? Yarn prepper. Why does my kid call in whenever I'm moaning? That's funny. Melanie, thank you so much. Holy kiss to you too. Big sis. I found Waldo. Thank you. Good chat today. Very informative, says Tony Christian from Ohio. Rob, do the Russians want the USSR back, or do they want the world to feel that Russia is a world power? In a very nutshell, Soviet Union was feared, but Russians thought that that was not fear, but respect. Okay, so they mistook the fear for respect, and when Soviet Union fell apart, Russia became much weaker country. It kind of got wiped off political maps as a big political player. And Russians felt that. They felt that Russia was not feared anymore, but they thought Russia was not respected anymore. And they really, really took it personally. Took it very, it was painful for them. Now they're a lot of them saying, "Oh, you know what? We're still respected. Not still respect. We're now, respected again because we have strong army and stuff like that." So I see a lot of misconceptions, misinterpretations happening here in Russia, because only if Russians could get out of Russia and look at our country and our life, at our actions from outside of the country, they would have seen a different picture that from the one that they're seeing right now, being inside of Russia. Okay. Whew. Luke King, $10. Thank you so much. Spoke to a HR lady and she said there are a lot of new Russian IT people applying for jobs here in Australia. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Young Russians, IT specialists especially, they're flying all over. And they're looking for new life because they don't like what's happening here. Okay? Andrew Webb, what tea are you drinking, big man? Earl Grey. The company is called Mlesna. It's a producer from Sri Lanka. And this is the best tea in Russia by far that I was able to buy at the store, at a regular Russian store. It's really expensive. It costs, well, I would say an arm and a leg. About $30 for for just a little bit of tea, but it's well worth it. There's a question from Gorvin. Can India and China replace European economy? No way. You kidding me? Of course not. Oh, there's another message from Andrew Webb. Thanks for doing what you do, big man. Get yourself Twinings breakfast tea bags. 1 sugar splash of milk. Try to keep smiling, mate. Thank you so much. And let me tell you what the problem with Twinings breakfast, English breakfast, here in Russia. I bought it a few times and it's not good. Now, I went to England and I tried Twinings there, and world of a difference. There, it's fantastic tea. Here in Russia, Twinings, same packaging, price is much more expensive here in Russia, but the tea is much worse. I was puzzled a long time when I looked in the fine print on the bottom of this packaging. It said, in the very fine print, it said, manufactured or produced in Poland specifically for Russia. And I was like, okay, now I understand. They probably cut costs, you know. So, Twinings, I would love to have it, but it's not the same as the Twinings that you drink. Otherwise, I'd get it. The closest to Twinings is actually what I'm drinking right now. It's called Mlesna. And it comes from Sri Lanka, and it's expensive tea, but it's really good. It's almost same as Twinings. Thanks for the super chat, you know. Nottingham, England. Wow. Nottingham Forest. Do you still Robin Hood running around shooting arrows? Just kidding. Shooting arrows is my thing now because that's what Michael loves. He's about 6 years old soon, and then he's into, shooting bow. May Regnier, which book do you think captures the best the Russian soul? Oh gosh, I don't know. It's same thing as to ask me, what is the best Russian dish? Yeah, I wish I could answer that question, but I don't know. I'm sorry. Hi from Portland, Oregon. Check time, says Bob S. Check time. Yes, I'm checking time. I'm seeing 6 more minutes to go. Archer's friend. Worldwide food insecurity caused by this event. Grim features for everyone. It's been talk of the last week here in Russia, and I think Russia is trying to blackmail countries by saying, hey, if you ease up sanctions, we'll help you out with food or something like that. We'll see. I don't judge that. I don't know what's going on, and we'll see. Time will tell. Yarn Prepper says, do not challenge mods. You will not win. Yarn Prepper, do you think there's actually a need to say that? I think everyone knows here in this chat. Catherine, you should try Lady Grey tea. It's like Earl Grey but with a hint of citrus. Well, it depends on the manufacturer, who manufactures, who produces that tea. That's gonna be like the real stuff. Here in Russia, what they do is they cut corners. They mix it with like lower grade tea and repackage it, and that's why I have this problem. The king of tea is widely regarded to be oolong. I like it, but it's not my favorite. I'm very simple guy, very basic in food as well. And I like my very basic red tea. Well, here it's called black tea, but in China it's red tea. Okay, so that's my kind of favorite. I'm sticking with the basics, so to speak. Так, how we doing on time? Couple of minutes. JB, we don't hate Russian people from England with love. Thank you so much. Thank you. Messages like this are needed because, the times are hard. Nekos, I heard Russia has a region well known for its quality tea. If you know, tell me, because I don't know. Krasnodar region, but I tried Krasnodar tea, and then you know what? Georgia, not Georgia the state, but Georgia the country, had somewhat decent tea, but also it's not. Their wine is first class, their tea is not so good. You might have been fooled by the government because in the USSR, what they did is they were buying tea in bulk from from India, really good tea, and they grew a little bit of tea in Krasnodar and Georgia, and they would take a little bit of that tea and would add into Indian tea and package it as a Russian Soviet tea. Okay, and the tea was good, so the myth was born that Russian region is really good for tea. Amir, thank you so much for $10 for some more tea for your stockpile, Mr. Popular. Thank you, much appreciated. And there's a $20 from Stat Musician. Thanks for the history. I hope that the sanctions won't hurt ordinary Russians too much. I hope they understand that the only intended effects are on one industry. Thanks for the super chat. It's a tough concept. Okay, I will definitely be updating you in the future on what is happening, how this tsunami is hitting us, and things like that. Okay, so keep on tuning in. That's definitely one of my major topics throughout the streams and the videos in the future. I would like everyone to invite to join me in prayer, please. I would like believers and non-believers join me. Believers because we pray, non-believers because you have hearts and they beat, and your hearts, if they beat, they have love in them. You love someone, and God is love in my eyes. And if you have love in your hearts, you have God in your hearts. And if you don't believe in God, that's okay, because He believes in you. That's more important. So you please also join me in prayer. And if you don't want to call it prayer, let's join me in something of sending good wishes and good energy to other people. Okay. Thank you, Yodi Racer, for $20. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. So please join. Dear God, thank you so much for giving us such a wonderful day. Thank you for putting food on our tables, roofs over our heads, and surrounding us with good people, loving people, the loved ones, the family, friends, colleagues. Thank you. Please help stop bloodshed in Ukraine. Send angels so they keep every single person who is on Ukrainian soil out of harm's way. Civilians, Ukrainian soldiers, Russian soldiers, please turn things the way that there is no more bloodshed, no more blood runs anymore. Please touch the hearts of people who make decisions whether to continue or to stop, so fill them with love, with mercy, remorse, compassion, so they just stop the bloodshed. Please help my country. Send strong angels with sharp swords led by Saint Michael to get rid of demons that have hijacked my country. Have angels run my country again and make it shine again. Please help those who help Ukraine now. opening doors of the homes for Ukrainian refugees, feeding them, sending them prayers, sending them financial support, please. Also, please help Maria Z, our fellow viewer, member of our community, and her mom Svetlana and son Valentin. Keep them out of harm's way, and please give them financial means to satisfy their financial needs. Give us wisdom to grow our kids the way that when they grow up into adults, they will make this world a better place. They will do a better job than us. They will never fight with one another, but love one another. Please help all the children in the world, so none of the children cries anymore, loses parents, loses home, loses food. Make every single child happy, please. I would like to mention a few names. People reached out and asked me to say their names in prayer. They're asking you for certain things. They want you to help them, so please reach out and touch their hearts, their heads, and help them. And these people are Rafaela From and her daughter Anna, William, Yelena, Natasha, Jake, Michael, Oля, Dasha, Sky, Bonnie, Rebecca, Melissa, Donna, Buzz, Anne Mary, Jean-Paul, Paula, Janine, Michael, Marlene, Mikhail's family, Dimitrius, Kieran, Narnian lady, Susan S., Sabrina, Moby 1, Skipper 09, Melody, 9 Veka, Stephen, Ellen, Paul Binns, Fiona, Susan, Priscilla, and I would like to also ask you for 3 kids, Maverick, Sebastian, and Brentley, and for the families. Please reach out to those people, children, and touch their hearts, touch their heads, and give them what they're asking for and the families are asking for. Have their prayers answered and wishes granted. Thank you so much. Amen. And thank you very much for coming to the stream, hearing me out, and joining me in prayer. Thank you so much, my friends. It's been a good day. Tomorrow is another day, another message, another news. I hope there will be good news. Haven't received good news in a long time, but hoping and praying for more every day. Thank you, mods. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Thank you, and I will see you soon. You are awesome, and you rock.